So that, it's various areas like lot width, lot area, some setbacks, things like that. So understand that when you're looking at it, if you feel anything is too much, too little, certainly points of discussion for the Planning Commission. Then looking at water and sewer, those items were addressed in the engineer memo. Hopefully you had the opportunity to read those. Certainly can answer any questions you have regarding that, but the applicant will be extending city sewer and water to service this area. Looking at the next point is streets. Within it, I think maybe the big discussion point in terms of streets is going to be the segment of Buck Lake Road between the entrance of the development and Highway 7, and then that intersection at Highway 7. Based on the information provided, the applicant, the developer, will be improving that section of Buck Lake Road to a rural section per city engineering standards. They will need to work with the township to make sure that they are okay with those standards as well. The expectation is that the city would then take on the maintenance of that road going forward, plowing and that sort of thing. Then looking at the intersection of Buck Lake Road and Highway 7, in working with our engineers, it would seem to make a ton of sense to have a traffic study done of the intersection of Buck Lake Road and Highway 7 to see how the proposed development will impact that and what, if any, improvements will be necessary to that intersection. The developer will have to work with MnDOT, get permits through MnDOT as well. That process is ongoing. So obviously, depending on what MnDOT says, we'll determine what, and the traffic study as well, will determine what improvements are necessary for that intersection. And there are other things to look at. I know in some of the documentation provided by the developer, and it will depend on MnDOT as well, but the option of adding a secondary ingress, egress, right in, right out along, I believe it's labeled outlot F in the documents. So that could be a point of discussion. Obviously, MnDOT will have to approve that entry point as well, but that's something to look at. The next item is tree preservation. In your staff report, I did break down the table of the total significant inches on the site, what they would be allowed to remove and what they would be required to replace. Based on the information, I believe they're going above what is required for a replacement. It is mostly, an open farm field, but there are some trees that are being impacted, and those are being sufficiently replaced throughout the development. Just before this hearing tonight, the Parks Board did discuss the park dedication requirement. You're looking at a 12% land or land equivalent. In their discussion, they would like to see the developer try to find an opportunity to put an HOA park within the neighborhood. The city would then give them credit towards the park dedication requirement. But that's going to be an ongoing discussion. In lieu of that, if something can't be worked out, it would be a 12% cash in lieu, and they were okay with that. So park dedication was reviewed this evening. The other thing is the Architectural Guidelines and Homeowners Association. We do have some model homes we can show at some point, should the commission want to see that. And then looking at those versus our architectural standards, that's something we'll have to work with the developer on. And if there's something that flexibility that is needed, we could do that as part of a waiver from the architectural standards, but that would be something the city would have to grant. And then obviously an HOA is something that the city would like to see with the neighborhood. So that would be something that would be worked into the approvals as well, should that be the decision of the board tonight. Then moving on to, I guess that's kind of the main discussion points. I'm sure through the public hearing, there'll be additional ones brought up, and we certainly can address those as that comes. But with that being said, we did send out notices because it's a rezoning to a PUD. It's 1,000 feet. We did get a couple written comments in as a result of the hearing, potentially have some people here this evening to speak on that as well. So you have the couple written comments, and then you will hold the hearing this evening to hear if there's any other concerns. With that being said, like I said, please hold your hearing, give everyone the opportunity here to speak and voice their comments, concerns, questions that they have regarding the development. Once you do that, you can close the hearing. And after that, discuss amongst yourself and before you make a recommendation to the city council. Based on the information provided, It does meet the density guidelines that we set out with the comprehensive plan amendment. Should you find tweaks and things like that within the development to satisfy all the comments and concerns that are raised during the hearing, you certainly can add those as conditions to the approval. But with that being said, it would be an ordinance to rezone the property to PUD and then a preliminary plat, whether you decide to approve it or not. So you are recommending to the city council, so keep that in mind as well.
Okay.
We do have our developer here. If you want to give them an opportunity to speak first, unless you want to go right to the hearing, you are welcome to do it either way.
No, let's hear from the developer first.
Okay.
And then I've got a couple of questions, clarity. The traffic study, who's going to pay for that?
It's on the developer.
Developer, okay, gotcha. Just want to make sure.
And MnDOT is requiring them to do a traffic study.
And then, that answers that. And then you said 3.5, not 3.8?
Correct, yes. They'll need to clarify the densities, but based on my understanding of what the Met Council allows you to net out, it is 3.5.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the hearing. I'm going to have the developer do their presentation first, whatever that is, if that's what they want to do. And then I'm going to open up the hearing, and then we've got a lot of people waiting. So we just have to find an orderly way to give everyone, I don't care if we're here until midnight, we'll give everyone opportunity to speak. We've done it before.
Wait a second, okay.
If the previous speaker has covered your points, you
Yeah.
can just.
And
Yeah, that's a
if
good
the
point.
person has answered your question, then, you know, you're fine to, sure.
Just make
Speak
sure
into your
speaking
microphones,
when you
yeah.
talk, guys.
Yeah, we'll speak into our mics. Thank you. We heard you. So I'll open up the public hearing again. The developer, please give us your name and address. And do you have a presentation or do you want to direct them?
Line,
Okay,
talk through it.
okay, thank you.
Good evening. My name is John Anderson. I represent Brandel Anderson Homes. We're doing business as Seven Oaks LLC for this development, which is called Seven Oaks. We're a builder developer located out of Burnsville, Minnesota. And we're here tonight to ask for approval or recommendation for approval of the preliminary plat and the rezoning to PUD.
And your address?
What's your address?
Oh, sorry, 14832 Estate Avenue Southeast, Prior Lake, Minnesota.
Thank you.
So we did, as staff said earlier, there was a comprehensive plan amendment that was looked at earlier in the year that was recommended for approval by the planning commission. The council ultimately approved that, and Met Council has approved that as well at this point. So we are now at the next step here, which is to submit for the preliminary plat. And there are still a few more items to go before that. Since the comprehensive plan, we have held a neighborhood meeting at the church in St. Bonnie. And there was quite a few residents that showed up for that as well. I know some of them are here tonight as well. And we kind of just gave a general idea of what we're going forward with and what our submittal was, just kind of give a preliminary, look at what's happening. We also have had meetings with St. Bonnie and met with staff and the council over there regarding sewer connections, future street connections, things like that. As part of our plan, the sewer connection actually connects into a manhole in Wildwood Avenue within their city. That is in the plan set that is being reviewed right now. Also met with Watertown Township at their town board meeting to discuss Buck Lake Road. Buck Lake Road currently is split down the middle between Watertown Township and Carver County and the city of Minnetrista and Hennepin County. So it's currently being maintained as a gravel roadway by the township. They had expressed interest that it was going to be upgraded and paved, which we're proposing to do with this development, that maintenance would then go on to the city of Minnetrista for, excuse me, that entrance point from Highway 7 up to our entrance. So it's about 350, 400 feet, something like that. Then the gravel section that would go beyond that would still be township maintained. So with that being said, our proposal is 214 total units. We have 3 different product types that go with that. There's a single family product, a villa product, which acts kind of similar to a single family product and a townhome product. And I know Nick mentioned there are some colored renderings that show some examples of what could be out there, especially on the single family side. There is going to be customization, so there could be multiple different styles that come when it's all said and done. With that said, the PUD amendment, basically the PUD flexibility requested is kind of the minimum for the villas. The single family lots are obviously larger than that, and not all those requests are needed for those, but the villas do need that, and it's kind of showing the bare minimum. So quite a few of the lots are larger than obviously the townhomes have their own separate item there. Few of the things that we've dealt with in this is, the big one has been traffic study and working with MnDOT with our access out to Highway 7. We also have a wetland delineation done. That's submitted for review right now as well with the replacement application. There's a small, I think it's 3,700 square foot farmed wetland right now that's proposed to be impacted. All the other larger wetlands that are kind of more natural are being preserved and not being impacted. We've also got a submittal into the watershed so they can look at the stormwater management aspect of this. That's ongoing as we move forward as well.
So you did do this, you have done the traffic study for a minute?
Traffic study is in
Progress, okay.
now, so that is being done. That was the city consultant, SRF, has just sent an email as of today to our engineer with all the specifics. So they are actually starting on that probably tomorrow, and I'll be working towards that. It'll probably take a couple weeks to get through that process, maybe 3 or so, the way it sounded. MnDOT is also ongoing with the review right now. We have spoke with them in the past, and we don't have direct specific answers on it, but we are looking to, access Buck Lake Road. That'll be upgraded. We have left, if you've seen the site plan on the south end, there's an outlot kind of between the townhomes that goes down to Highway 7. That's part of the property as well. We have left that open for right now. And I know one of the comments is also to provide sewer and water access. There's 3 residences to the south of us, and then the city water tower site kind of on the southeast corner. But that would be where the water and sewer most likely could come from into those residences, and also potentially a long-term even cul-de-sac for future access. What we've talked to MnDOT about is possibly a long or short-term right in, right out to Highway 7 for a secondary access that would go away once additional access is further to the east. And this is on property we don't control, it's private property. And if they were ever to sell and develop roadways, we have 3 stubs to the east would extend through that property, and eventually somewhere they'd connect to the Wildwood Avenue intersection, which is proposed to be upgraded. I think the MnDOT study showed us a 3/4. I've been been told, I guess, that that's being looked at to be upgraded to a roundabout. So where that all shakes out, I'm not exactly sure, but that is kind of been looked at from a long-term standpoint.
1 second.
That's okay. I talked with MnDOT today, a roundabout, so Wildwood Hunters Trail, it's called dollars,
Yeah.
money. So that might not happen. So we're working on it. We're going to see what the possibilities are.
Okay.
So yeah, we're working on it.
Yeah, we knew there were some discussions, didn't know exactly where they all stood, but where that's all at. But obviously that's been the big feedback that we've received from the neighborhood meeting and things like that is, access, traffic, different things of that nature. Other items, we are going to be doing a homeowners association with this neighborhood. The ponding on the site is going to be association maintained. We'll also pull our irrigation out of those stormwater ponds to irrigate all the properties out there, similar to what Woodland Cove has done in the past. And so that homeowners association will be put in place. There'll be different sub-associations based on the different product types, but overall one large association. From a sanitary sewer standpoint, I mentioned earlier, we're going to be connecting into a manhole in St. Bonnie and Wildwood Avenue. We are also putting a lift station in on this site, which if you look at in the very center of the property right there's going to be a lift station. That lift station will service our entire site, can service the site to the east of us, which is in the city, can service property to the north of us, because there is a stub to the north for that property, long-term for access, and then potentially even land to the west into Carver County and Watertown Township.
So does the city maintain that?
Pardon?
Would the city maintain that, or?
The lift station?
The lift station would be ours, yeah. And then the sewer lines up to the Met Council line would be ours.
Yep.
And he's talking about they're also working on an agreement because our sewer is going to be running through a pipe that runs through St. Bonnie. So they're working on that, on an agreement on that.
That's what we met with the city council here a couple of weeks ago, and there would be a meter situation set up. I believe they have that in Hunter's Crest right now as well. And the city engineer at that time, or at the meeting, I should say, said that'd be something the details will be worked out, at final plat time, but it'd be something that they're aware of and fully, the big thing is we have to cut into their street a little bit and repave that. All cost for the lift station installation, the sewer, force main extension, paving, streets, anything would be on the developer or on us. So we would be taking care of all costs. Same with the traffic study and all engineering plans, things of that nature. So no cost would be, put onto the city at that point. The other, couple things here from a timing standpoint, we're at preliminary plat. What ideally we'd love to see preliminary plat approval here, this late summer, early fall, and start grading out there this fall, prior to, final plat approval, but they're allowed to grading to get our phase one kind of put in place. We are looking at doing 4 phases. There is a phasing map that was submitted into the application with the right there. There's the 4 phases. So it's got kind of color coded based on the phases, and the black lines kind of outline the different product types. So the red area would be the phase 1 that gets us up to our lift station, gets our access off the Buck Lake Road area. Sewer that would come from the St. Bonnie would be a force main or run along Highway 7 adjacent to the city water main. And there are some comments in the staff report or engineering comments about that. It would come up through the water tower site and then tie into our development and then run north up to the lift station. So that would all be done in part of the phase 1. So it'd be a lot of infrastructure, which is going to take a little bit of time. So we expect our hope to get grading done this year and then start utility work next spring. If there was any way to get some done this year, we might start and let it sit once winter shuts us down. But most likely any utility street work would be in the spring of 27 with our first houses being constructed, late next year, next summer, fall, something of that nature. So that's kind of where it's at. After preliminary plat approval, there would be a final plat that we would submit for, which would be that kind of red area on the phasing plan. That would also come before the city for review and approval. And that's when all the detailed construction plans we put in place, all our permitting for water, sewer, the Met Council stuff, the St. Bonnie metering stuff, anything of that nature would be looked at and agreed upon. So basically what we're looking for right now is a recommendation for approval of the PUD rezoning and the preliminary plat. And we are aware of the conditions that are in the report, and everything in there seems to make sense, stuff we're already kind of working on. Nothing really caught us off guard. There's a little bit of, we had to kind of refigure how we do our irrigation stats or, engineering on that, but that's something the engineer can handle. But other than that, everything is in process moving forward, and other jurisdictions have what they need. And I guess I can take any questions.
Gotcha.
Are you planning on putting any wells in to feed the irrigation?
That is something that was talked about, if the ponds would dry up to have a well. So that is something I think is in the works. We have a irrigation designer that is starting their process to actually design the overall site and how that would all work. We're actually doing a similar deal in Chanhassen right now on a project where we used a pond for the irrigation, but in that case, we had a water stub from the city water system. It's a smaller site. But in this case, it would be a well that would be owned and maintained by the association.
Yeah.
It would be
I can tell you that
activated.
It works well because we did that at Woodland Cove.
Yeah.
And it's been successful. So something to consider.
Yeah, nope, we are already
Yeah.
got that in the works.
Okay.
again, So.
And they have to get a DNR permit for
Yeah.
that. So the DNR will be looking at existing wells in the neighborhood and in the area to see how it might impact.
And there's no
So that
wells
may-
existing on the site.
That may or may not happen.
That's fine. I mean, I just wasn't if you were considering it, was my question. Yes.
We are
Okay.
looking into that.
Good.
Yep.
Any other questions? No? Can you tell me a little bit about the the public hearings that you had at the church or in St. Bonnie?
The neighborhood meeting?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so we had a meeting, we scheduled it, basically probably the same people got invited that are here tonight. There's probably 30 residents, 25 residents that showed up. And the big discussion, well, there's a couple items. It was, well, I'll kind of touch on them. The big one was the traffic, Buck Lake Road being a gravel road. Will people be using that road going to the north out of this neighborhood? And will that affect, dust and things of that nature? I know when I went to Watertown Township in their meeting, we talked about that a little as well. Another one was the access onto Highway 7. There was discussion about, potentially some sort of park situation. A couple comments about density of the overall density got brought up on the site. As Nick mentioned, we're right on the border of the required density with Met Council right now. So it really can't get less dense to meet council standards in units an acre. But those are the main talking points. And, we had a discussion for a good hour or so, and yeah.
Any other questions?
No.
Go through
Kind
my
of,
notes
kind of
here.
gotten checked off here as you've
Yeah,
been
I've gone through a
talking.
bunch of
So
questions I had to. Let me just go through here.
what, I guess, where is the nearest park? Like if you were a kid in this neighborhood, would you walk to a park without crossing Highway 7?
No,
Really isn't one.
No.
Nah,
well, you could walk down to Wildwood and go to St. Bonnie, but it would be somewhat of a hike.
I had a bunch of questions around the stormwater. We kind of answered those in conversation.
So there's no. Plan being planned.
Plan shows no park.
There's no current plans for a park here.
Yeah, so you said they're working on that. It's a 12%.
So yes, that's something that's still going to be up for discussion. There was a brief conversation between the park board and the developer on the feasibility of doing that. But yeah, you're looking at 12% cash in lieu, or if they can find a way to make that work, we give them some credit on that.
When do they need to make that decision for the city council?
I mean, certainly by the final plat approval.
Mhm.
Well, it'll be discussed at the preliminary
Yeah,
because
the council will,
once
yeah.
once you approve a preliminary plan and they meet all those conditions, then the final is basically just rubber stamp. But so the preliminary is really important, and you want to make sure that you get everything that you want or don't want in the preliminary with the conditions, because if they meet all those conditions, then they're good to go. So if that makes sense.
And yes, it does. And I was going to say, if we are, earlier there was a park commission meeting before the planning commission tonight, and we were there and we had this discussion. And the HOA park that was listed in that report was something that came up here recently. I know the city parks plan shows a park kind of north and east of this area on adjacent property. And the park service area kind of touched into the northeast corner of our site. Now, when that property develops, nobody really knows. It could be tomorrow, it could be 20 years. We don't know. And so, the HOA park thing is, it wasn't really in the budget to do a park and put in equipment and all that and be part of the HOA. Now, one thing I mentioned at the park commission meeting is, could we take a few lots and kind of create some green space that would be there until, say, some park may be developed on property near us? From a connection. And there was also talks about trails and sidewalks, and we don't have any trails specifically within our streets, but we have sidewalks that'll connect into all the neighboring properties as well. So, so that was discussed at the park commission and something we can talk about. So, but I think it would need to be made during the preliminary plat, a final
Right.
decision.
Mhm.
And have single family without a park.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to see some sort of space for the kids to play. There's gonna be a lot of kids in there
Yeah.
and there's no
Yeah.
space for them right now.
There is. And then the access, I mean, I'm gonna tell you, like, I live off of 7 and you don't want your kids going anywhere near 7.
No.
You know, and then the challenge with that property is that you have kids that want to get to Mackintoons, right? I know my kids, my neighbors' kids, they cut right through the park and they're over at Mackintoons buying baseball cards, going to, whatever, doing whatever. So getting access, a safe access over to Mackintoons is gonna be, important. I don't know how we address that.
So on Highway 7, they do have MnDOT has a plan for a trail, but as you know, it can take who knows how long to make that connection. So
Is there any conversations about a light or something? Because I mean, just getting kids across the street or getting.
wait, they're actually on the right side. They're actually on the north side.
On the
which
right
is-
side of the.
And so is Mackintoons. So, but
Yeah.
there's,
Mhm.
it's a difficult because of the distance too. I don't know how many miles it is down to Mackintoons, but quite a distance.
Yeah.
So,
Well, it'll drive a certain type of person to move there if they don't have it,
Yeah.
so.
All right. Any other questions for the developer? We're gonna ask neighbors to speak on this if we don't have any other questions.
I got one other comment I was just thinking of. When we did the comprehensive plan, we had a rough concept plan.
Mhm.
This is very similar to that. There's a couple little tweaks here and there, but for the most part, pretty much the same thing that was looked at that time. So just so I was aware of that.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Start from left to my left to right and kind of go down. And if you want to stand up and speak, I'm going to ask you to say your name and address out loud into the mic and then make your comment.
Joe Bruner, 4010 Quaz Avenue, Watertown, Minnesota. I am a Watertown Township Supervisor. I'm here to speak in opposition to this development. I basically have two arguments against it. First one, the added traffic that's going to be on Buck Lake Road is just a simple country gravel road. You're going to have 200 and some houses there, 200 and some 300 cars. People that are leaving to work, you're going to have 150 people leaving at the same time. Some of them obviously will go on Buck Lake Road. I don't think the taxpayers in the township are going to appreciate it when we have to raise our levy to pay for the added expense to maintain Buck Lake Road. Gravel is not cheap. Fuel for the graders, trucks are not cheap. Hours pay employees to maintain that. I think appreciate it. They have to pay extra for development in another county.
I mean, not that I don't want Watertown to contribute to it, because I obviously would. I mean, as a Minnetrista citizen, but like, we did talk about, Nick, that Buck Lake Road improvement would be
Right.
How would that affect?
Well, I think part of the concern is that Buck Lake extends to the north as well, where some of the residents do live. I think there's the concern that a resident would leave this neighborhood rather than take a left and head south towards Highway 7, they would take a right, head north on Buck Lake Road.
Okay.
And as a way to avoid Highway 7 and that intersection and traffic. So I think that's, correct me if I'm wrong, sir, I think that's maybe where he's coming from, is that added traffic.
Well, kind of, but the improvement that was discussed is only tarring the road from the entrance to the development.
Correct.
To 7, which is a block and a half.
Correct.
So the majority of Buck Lake Road is not going to be paved.
Sure.
It's just a simple gravel road. So you put in all this extra traffic, there's township supervisors here now, they'll can attribute to the cost of maintaining our roads. It's not cheap,
Oh, we know that. Yeah.
okay? And second of all, that intersection on Highway 7 and Buck Lake Road is a disaster ready to happen. It sits at the very top of a hill, so the view down both sides is poor at best. Now, I don't know what MnDOT has in mind, roundabouts or stoplights, I don't know, but nothing has been approved yet. So I think it's premature to give this development any kind of go-ahead until MnDOT comes out with a specific plan to what they're going to do at that intersection. Because the residents of the Watertown Township, some of them obviously will use that intersection to get onto Highway 7. So you're going to have all these other traffic, cars there. It's going to make their life more dangerous.
So if I could, because
Go ahead, Mayor.
if I could, thank you. So we've been in contact with MnDOT. In fact, I had a conversation with them today. So before anything would be approved, the developer has to do a traffic study. That traffic study will tell the city as well as the developer what actually has to happen at that intersection to make ingress and egress safe for all travelers. Now, if it means cutting down the hill, so some of the things they look at is not just traffic volumes, but they look at sightline distances. They look at the speed at which vehicles are traveling. There's a lot of different things that go into a traffic study, and they have to do this before any kind of intersection is approved. And then whether it's a light, whether it's a roundabout, whether it's left, right, turn lanes, all of that will come out with that traffic study. And then the city can decide what the best plan of action is. Right now, we don't know that because the traffic study hasn't been completed.
So is that, and that's in, I guess, concert. So we make that decision with.
Well, again, MnDOT will tell us and the developer what needs to happen at that intersection in order for safe ingress and egress to happen. And what they do is they take not only current traffic, but they also take future traffic. So they're gonna take the development that's being proposed, and they're gonna say, okay, that's gonna generate X number of trips per day, and currently there's X number of trips per day. They're gonna use all of that information. They also know how many trips per day there are on Highway 7 in that location. Just kind of FYI, there's 9,400 trips, average daily trips per day in that section. So they're going to use that information along with all of the other information from the development, proposed development, in order to determine what is the best intersection, whether it's a signal or whether it's a roundabout or whether it's turn lanes only. We don't know at this point.
Is there a way to give feedback into that process?
We are.
Okay,
Yeah.
so the city is the venue for that feedback.
Well, we are, and just like everybody here, we are concerned about the safety of not just Minnetrista residents, future residents in this development, but all residents that are using that intersection.
So I got the two comments. Did you have a third comment,
Well,
sir?
I'd just like to add the first part. I didn't hear anything about compensating the township for the extra traffic on Buck Lake Road.
We are going to take care of that.
You're
We are going to be paving and maintaining.
only going to pave from the entrance to 7, not the rest of Buck Lake Road.
Correct.
So you're going to tell the taxpayers here that they have to pay more taxes to fund a development in another county? I don't want to have to tell them that.
Okay. All right.
I would be tarred and feathered. But anyway, my next argument is that the logical thing on this argument is to get Don Turk to sell his property so you can put a road across his land to hook into Wildwood. That would make everything safer. Now, good luck with that.
Don here?
Oh, Don. But maybe this,
Maybe you could talk to him.
we talk politics, but that's about it. That's the only thing we can agree on. But anyway.
All right.
right.
It seems to make that this development is kind of putting the cart before the horse.
Okay.
Wait till the time comes, maybe Don or whoever might give you an easement or sell his property, then you can go build all you want as far as I'm concerned. But the way it is now, I am in opposition.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Again, my left. Anyone else would like to speak on this left side here? Anyone here in this front row, right, who'd like to speak? Okay. Your name, address, please.
So Tori Schmidt, 3885 Buck Lake Road. What I have here is a petition signed by 125 residents that the previous speaker was talking about, and then I'll speak to that petition as well.
Yeah.
5885.
So we were made aware at the Watertown Township meeting, or right after, from some residents that attended, that this
Did you-
development was going in. And
Get his address, I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that was on July 6th, the meeting Watertown Township. And the general discussion out of that meeting was, what are we going to do about the road conditions and the turn into Buck Lake Road that was previously spoke about? Neighborhood meeting, folks got together, talked through this, and we signed this petition here that I'll summarize here for the group. And I'll give you a copy of my summary so you have that to enter into the record as well. But we respectfully object to the rezoning of the subject property from agricultural to residential use at this time. Our concern is not growth itself, but the lack of a complete and coordinated and publicly reviewed plan for the management of traffic at Highway 7. Buck Lake Road and its surrounding rural road network before major residential development proceeds. The petition submitted by nearby residents, property owners, and agricultural operators, road users, and concerned community members raises the same issue. A project of this scale could add substantial daily vehicle trips if Highway 7 access is restricted or unresolved. Drivers may divert onto Buck Lake Road and nearby township roads that are not designed for subdivision level traffic. The rezoning would materially change the character and intensity of this of use. Property is currently identified as agricultural preserve. And a site shift to low to medium residence with a planned unit development overlay would shift the site from an agricultural use to a subdivision scale residential use. That change should not be approved unless the city, county, MnDOT, and the affected township roads have confirmed a plan to safely absorb that added traffic. Traffic impacts remain central to the unresolved issue. Prior development materials and the petition that's in front of you guys identifies the project at approximately 67.8 to 68 gross acres and roughly 214 to 233 residential units as previously submitted to you. The petition also states that there was 1,000 to 2,000 additional vehicle trips outlined by your initial reviews. A project of that size or at that scale would require a specific enforceable access and circulation plan before rezoning and plat approvals advance. In other words, in common language, providing friction on that road to drive traffic north onto Buck Lake Road. If cars stack up at Highway 7, people are going to turn right. They're going to go right on Buck Lake Road and distribute throughout the township. Buck Lake Road and surrounding roads are not built for a diverted subdivision traffic. Buck Lake Road is a gravel township road serving rural homes, farmsteads, agricultural operations, pedestrians, pets, horses, farm equipment, school transportation, delivery vehicles, and local traffic. With gravel surfaces, limited shoulders, curves, sightline limitations, rural driveways, and agricultural access points, even partial diversion could create safety, dust, maintenance, emergency access of life impacts. A restricted access concept would create a predictable cut-through pressure on that road and the surrounding roads that branch off of that. As traffic moves, in our area here, we've got a lot of waterways that restrict north-south traffic. And if you look at the map there,
We only notice like
that is really the only north-south convenient access.
It's big here.
This petition specifically warns that a right-only, which was brought up at the Watertown Township meeting, I believe by the developer, that's not directly to me, but that was conversation after the meeting, or similar limited access concept at Buck Lake Road and Highway 7 could push drivers towards nearby gravel township roads as alternative routes. That risk should be resolved before the city approves rezoning that enables a proposed residential density. For these reasons, we respectfully request that the Planning Commission and the City Council do not recommend or approve rezoning of the subject property unless the following conditions are satisfied and made enforceable as part of this approval. And enforceable is a big part of that. You mentioned the roundabout on Wildwood in MnDOT's plan, better sightlines at that location, better contiguous design for the city. It was mentioned here that the sightlines on Highway 7 are horrible. I've been driving my whole life. Family's been on the farm for 100 years, and it's not great. Traffic study, which I love that you guys are already on that, was specifically to evaluate Highway 7, Buck Lake Road, Swede Lake Road, and nearby gravel road townships, farm access, pedestrians, horses, livestock, and agricultural equipment. A safe two-way solution at Highway 7 and Buck Lake Road, including serious considerations for a roundabout or other full access design that manages speed and discourages.
Can I just ask one question?
Yeah.
Okay, roundabout at Buck Lake Road?
Right.
Okay.
Yep. If this is to come before the other roundabout and the other development through that space.
No.
Right.
Yeah,
So
okay.
there's a lot of unknowns here.
Yeah, but you're saying a roundabout at Buck Lake Road. So we have to, again, that has to be approved by MnDOT. So, okay.
So bottom line is if agricultural traffic can't make a left there, it's gonna,
No, I understand that. Yeah,
it's gotta go 7 miles to the east.
yeah, that's hopefully not going to happen.
Yeah.
Okay,
So, but safe two-way solution.
yes, I understand.
Yeah. And then the speed zone there is 60 miles an hour currently. So evaluation of a reduced Highway 7 speed zone through the development access, if warranted by engineering review, to your point.
Sure.
Formal coordination among MnDOT, Carver County, Hennepin County, and the city of Minnetrista, Watertown Township before final traffic control decisions are made. Public presentation of the access plan and supporting data for the final plan development agreement for construction approval. So in closing, Minnetrista has long emphasized protection of natural resources, preservation of rural character, and the quality of life as important community priorities. Approving a major rezoning before the traffic impacts are fully addressed would place existing rural residents, agricultural users, the aforementioned parties, including emergency responders, and future homeowners that you guys are talking about having these homes join us at unnecessary risk. And that was talked about on Highway 7, how rough that is. The responsible course is to pause or condition the rezoning until comprehensive multi-jurisdictional traffic control solution is completed and publicly reviewed and incorporated development of proposals. And I'll give you guys a copy of this for the record.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take a copy of that too.
Wayne Huben, 11975 Sweet Lake Road, Watertown.
Thank you.
Actually, I'm the clerk at the township as
It's
well.
okay, thank you.
I just wanted to make, maybe emphasize or make a couple of points. I'll be very brief, promise you.
Thank you.
The distance, by the way, the developer said it's like 350, 400 feet. It's more than that. It's 500, a little over 500 feet. I measured it. But it's kind of weird that he said, yeah, we're going to do that, but he didn't have an idea how the distance is, but important. It's minor. I get that.
Well written.
The maintenance of the road going south is, and I heard you say that Minnetrista would be involved, obviously, in maintaining that. It's one thing to pave it, developer paves it and gets it done. Who takes care of it? And who plows it? Who sands it? And I know that's something we can work out with you, the city.
Right.
Because we are now sharing that road per se. The other is, I know there was some speculation about how much traffic could be going north. So the township is going to, we'll start it quickly here, is to put traffic counts on that road so that we have some data versus speculation. Otherwise, you're speculating and it's hard to make decisions on speculations. So I just wanted to make those points clear.
When is that traffic? Can I ask a
Yeah,
question?
please.
When are you doing the traffic count?
We're starting this month,
Okay, great.
August, I should say.
Okay, that's great.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Right.
Good idea. Okay. All right.
Thank you, Wayne. Appreciate it. Second row, anyone here to speak? Here, okay.
Hi, I'm Renee Capistrant, proud resident of Minnetrista, 9516 Pheasant Crossing.
Thank you.
And I am here to strongly oppose this development in its current state because of the danger of congestion. According to the statute of the city, the great city of Minnetrista's own statutes under subdivision purpose, prevent harm for a new subdivision. Article C, to prevent overcrowding and undue congestion. Article G, having particular regard to the avoidance of congestion in the streets and highways. Subdivision Article Class 3, make sure the additional development created does not increase traffic levels beyond the capacity of existing roads. I think we're leaving a little bit too much up to MnDOT. MnDOT will take care of this, like they're our savior of MnDOT. But there certainly is preventable, I think, deaths. Especially, you have one chance to get this parks right. And all these adults in this room are going to explain to the children in 10 years, sorry, we didn't put a park. We took 12% in cash instead. I think that'll be hard to explain. It is time to put a park, but it is certainly not safe for any of these. As a teacher, I would not want to have any of our kids running across Highway 7. And I was so impressed with when the Kings Point development, this giant development, before they even started, they put in that roundabout. And we cannot say we'll put in a roundabout in 2029 if MnDOT says. And then Mayor Whalen, you said something about the developer is going to check with MnDOT, but I believe the developer said his next task is waiting for you. So I'm not sure that MnDOT is going to be involved. Hoping that we can make the decision to table this until it is as safe without any undue congestion and potential harm to our beautiful current and future residents of Minnetrista. Thanks.
I just want to be clear, make it, one second.
Yeah.
That this body is only going to make a recommendation. We're not going to make any decisions. Just want to be clear on that. We're going to make a recommendation to the city council, and the city council then will make a decision. So, yeah, just wanted to be clear. I got the second row. Sir, please come on up.
355 Buck Lake Road. And I think to boil this down, this is not a convenience issue, right? It doesn't, of course, affect the convenience of our friend from Prior Lake, but for those of us that live on that road and actually have to travel out of it on 7, you have one opportunity to get out. It is speed traffic. The sight lines are awful coming out there. It can take a couple, 3, 4 minutes just if you're by yourself. You put another 200 houses there with one exit, everybody's going to have to go that way, or of course, go the other way, which is the concern about Buck Lake Road. But it's not a convenience factor. It is a safety factor. And I do not believe that you can be safe without some sort of traffic roundabout or something that's going to be there prior to going with the development. You can get the development there and then hope that MnDOT in 4 years comes back and says, oh yeah, let's do something. In the meantime, there's 200 houses there.
It
So
would have to be put in with the development. It wouldn't wait for 4 years.
Okay.
It would be done now.
Well, that's the
Yeah.
point I think we're trying to make is
Right.
that it doesn't make it a convenient, it's a safety issue and it's
Right.
untenable for the people living there today and the future people that are going to live there. So
Right.
the recommendation would be if you go forward with this, to have some sort of a traffic control system before the subdivision went in, not after the fact.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good point. Thank you.
Okay, I got the second row. Ma'am, please. Name and address.
Ms. Kathleen McCann. I'm a resident of 10050 Swede Lake Road, and I'm speaking as a resident of the township tonight, but I am also a Watertown Township Supervisor. I want you to understand that Buck Lake Road runs north-south, but Buck Lake Road ends at another very important east-west road, which is Swede Lake Road. Nike Road off of 92 becomes Swede Lake Road. Swede Lake Road runs all the way to County Road 10, which is a paved road. Off of Swede Lake Road, there is Merino Avenue, Market Avenue, 46th Street is off of Buck Lake Road. We have Oxford Avenue. Oxford and Market go out to County Road 24, which is also County Road 15. So we're talking about residents from this development who are going to take these shortcuts to reach the paved county roads that they need to get to go wherever they're going. They're going to want to get to County Road 10 to the west. They're going to want to go north and get to County Road 15, which goes into Mound, goes west to Watertown. They're going to want to go east to 92. And if they can't do that through Highway 7, they're going to be, granted, taking Buck Lake Road, but our issue is not only Buck Lake Road. It's all these other auxiliary gravel roads that feed off of the dead end of Buck Lake Road, where Buck Lake Road tees and becomes an even more heavily trafficked road called Swede Lake Road / Nike Road. Those are the ways that people are going to be trying to reach the county paved roads, which is their ultimate goal, is to, take those county road or those paved roads up to Highway 12, Highway 7, whatever, 92. So I want to make sure, I'm also a representative on Watertown Township for the St. Bonnie Fire Department. So I'm the person who goes to the St. Bonnie Fire Department meetings. And I want to make sure there's a really in-depth study and really good input for fire department, police, school buses, all the safety issues of having only one little 2-lane driveway going into this new development off of Buck Lake Road. I don't think that any construction at all, paving 400 feet even, I don't think any of that should be started before this in-depth study and before the roundabout is created on Highway 7, because even doing the minimal grading that our developer was talking about, just starting some of the grading, starting some of the laying out of the streets, starting some of the paving of the driveway, that is going to bring heavy construction traffic off of Highway 7 and on our gravel roads. And those guys coming with cement trucks and with gravel and so forth, they're not going to want to be coming off of Highway 7 and having to wait. They're going to take our back roads. So we're going to see an immediate huge increase in construction traffic this fall if this is allowed to proceed. So I agree with previous speakers that we put a pause on this whole project and that you carefully look at things in addition to just Buck Lake Road. Look at all the ancillary gravel roads which are in our township that are going to have to be maintained by our township, and that our township residents of Watertown Township are going to have to pay tax increases to maintain the heavy construction traffic. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can you get me a pen? No.
I got the second row. Sir, please go ahead. Name and address.
Good evening. My name is Kevin Kramer, 4180 Buck Lake Road. And I'm here to speak against this development as well, at least until the traffic study is done. Could we go back to a previous slide that showed the, it was like a black and white with all the.
Would you like this one?
There's another one. Yeah, right there. Down. So this, just so everyone understands, I mean, people, the developers kind of talked over this like, oh, right in, right out, like that's no big deal. Well, that's a huge deal. I mean, for us on Buck Lake Road, if we're coming here and it's a right out, our only way out is to go this way.
No, they're not talking.
That's not what they were discussing. It was right along here to the west, east further. So a secondary right in, right out. This would remain the same unless the traffic study says otherwise. You know, there would potentially be improvements to it, but the right in, right out added access would be right here.
Be here.
It'd be a secondary one. So, you know, in addition to whatever else the traffic study might say for the Buck Lake Highway 7.
And I thought they said that this is for easement for water and sewer and everything else.
But you can put a road in there.
You can put it on.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that would be, that would be reasonable to have right in, right out there. Yes.
Yeah.
But so if there's no right in, right out on Buck Lake Road, that's not,
Well, the traffic study would, yeah, say what ultimately.
but that, and like everyone else said, that's a very dangerous intersection.
Right.
We're just waiting for somebody to get killed on that intersection. John and I left Sunday morning with a horse trailer and a couple of horses, 7 a.m. and we had to sit there for at least 4 or 5 cars to go by on 7 a.m. So it's, we're the only ones. Yeah, and we're the only ones. We're not fighting of 200 people coming out of this development to turn on that road as well.
The only good thing, and I have to emphasize, even if we wanted to put a roundabout in there, and even if the developer said, yeah, we're going to do that, it still has to be approved by MnDOT. Having said that, if a roundabout is put in there, it would help you on Buck Lake Road because you would be able to get out in the morning a lot faster because you would have right of way. So,
But I hope that
Yeah.
this project is not approved until this is taken care of.
Yeah.
Should be, that should be the first thing to get set up. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you, sir. Okay, anyone on the left here? Okay, I'm gonna go to the third row on the left side.
thank you.
Anyone want to speak from the third row?
Oh, boy.
Thank you, sir.
2 rights don't make a wrong. They do make.
Just for if Chair, can I do this?
Yeah.
Just for everybody, this says true
I
rights.
still make a wrong.
Oh.
2 wrongs don't make right, but 2 rights do equal a wrong.
I'm gonna go to the third row here on the right side. Anyone want to speak? Okay, I'm gonna fourth row on the left here. Anyone want to speak? Fourth row? Okay, ma'am, on the right side here, fourth row, come on up. Name and address, please.
You have to speak into the microphone.
Ditch, 5145 Buck Lake Road. I brought our map. This was from you, showing our off of Buck Lake Road. Highway 7 here, and we are just like right here, right? Down the road, 1 mile. And we've lived all our life there. We've farmed all our life over there 50 years. And there definitely has to be something done on Highway 7 before they do this. They have another 214 cars. There's already been accidents there. I don't want to see any of us being killed. I don't want to lose my husband. I don't want to die there.
Yeah.
And there's definitely going to be much more traffic there. And a lot of farm machinery comes down that road, so you definitely can't do, we were under the assumption it was going to be 2 rights, but that isn't it now, but a lot of farm machinery kind of thing, so we definitely need,
Mhm.
before you put another 400 cars on the road, we definitely need to have something so that we're not going to have our families killed. So I appreciate if you do push and I'm going to speak for the man that isn't here. I don't think he's out in the hall. Don Turk has highly opposed selling his land. So I don't think you're going to get it developed like you think so fast, because that's going to be many, many years down the road. I know Don is old and you think he's going to sell, but we've talked to him many times. Said no. And also with the park situation, we have neighbors that have little children right next door and they travel the road and stuff. And I realize there's going to be kids in there. So I think too, you should put a park, because as all of you know, you need parks for little kids. Otherwise they're going to be going up and down the gravel road on bikes, scooters, whatever. And there is farm machinery and everything there. And kind of thing. We definitely need something done on Highway 7 before
Absolutely.
for a housing.
Appreciate your comments, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
I'm gonna, on the right side here, 4th row. 5th row on the left side. Anyone on the 5th row?
Anyone left? Does anyone left?
5th row on the right side. Would anyone like to speak? Okay. 1st row in the back. I think we're standing up at this point. Anyone want to speak back there? Name and address, sir?
Come to the podium first.
Yeah, I know, yeah, I know.
Them heads up.
Hey, I'm John Brayland, 5155 Buck Lake Road. And I'm not opposed to developments, obviously, because, I mean, this is America. You should be able to sell your land to who you want to. But I'm not for a right in, right out. I would like a roundabout. And so I would like to ask you to use your influence to make that positive impact that would, I speak for myself, would certainly impact us in a positive way, and make the intersection more safe for my family, my grandkids, and the neighbors who I truly care about. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate your comments. Anyone else in the back? All right, we're gonna close the public hearing.
Oh, wait, he had a, sorry, open it, reopen it.
One closure comment.
Open it
Yeah,
back.
please,
The 150.
Open it back up.
open up the public hearing.
One point I want to clarify, in the discussions, we had a meeting last Thursday amongst all the neighbors too, is that if the development goes through and nothing is done on Buck Lake Road and it's left as the control that it has now, it's as unsafe as if you would have do a right in, right out. The idea of the sight lines, which I'd be happy to forward a breakdown of what that looks like to the board. But if you would put the development through, I want to strongly caution you that leaving that intersection as a single in and the way it is controlled right now would be as bad as other control efforts. It would cause friction and push a lot of that traffic up on the road.
And that comment was made by Mr. Schmidt, right?
Yep, correct. Okay,
Thank you, Mr. Commissioner. I think we'll see.
I really appreciate your comments. We're gonna, talk about it and, make and forward those recommendations and share your comments. I know the city council, they really care about, neighbors and they aren't just willy-nilly, approving subdivisions. There's a lot of debate. So I'll speak to that from my colleagues. And they're your neighbors. They've been living here 30, I'm 13, 14 years here. I know other neighbors on the commission and the planning, the city council, they've been here for 30, 40 years as well. So they care about it. So I know that they're going to put a lot of consideration to your thoughts and comments, and I really appreciate you guys coming out. So
Yes.
I'm going to close the public hearing. And then,
We got another,
No, I think you need to.
we need to move on.
Yeah.
so
We closed the public hearing
close the public hearing for this item.
for this.
Yes.
There's another agenda item.
Yeah, there's
Yes,
one more agenda item after this.
Yes.
So yeah, let's discuss and then talk to it.
I have some questions. You made a comment about MinDOT agreed to put it down.
Hold on, if people are leaving, could,
Yeah,
Mr. Chair, could,
A minute, yep.
Is that discussed any further in this meeting?
yes,
Yes.
yes. See,
They haven't acted yet, so yes. So yeah, if you want to hear it,
You wanna-
say.
Yeah.
Just give it we'll give it a second.
Close the doors.
There's some seats opened up. If you guys want to filter in, there's some seats that opened up. Please make some room for your neighbors.
And then maybe we could close those doors.
Yeah. If we could bring everybody in,
I can,
we'll get them, Sarah.
Thank you, Sarah.
she might not be able to reach it. And she, okay,
It's on the floor.
okay.
Thank you, Sarah.
All right. Before we start with comments, obviously, I just want to reiterate what we heard.
Yeah.
Safety, safety, safety,
Yeah.
safety,
Yep,
safety,
yep.
safety.
I'm with
Everyone's
them.
concerned about safety. You know, we, you know, obviously, you know, heard the overwhelming, I guess, comment was centered around that traffic study being done, you know, without that traffic study, obviously, we can't confirm what's gonna be recommended, but it sounded like residents were really for a roundabout. Obviously, the roundabout in Kings Point works well.
Does work well. Works great, even with mac and tunes going in.
Yeah, not even just a roundabout, a way to, you know, making sure that pedestrian traffic from that can get down to St. Bonnie or something like that,
Mhm.
you know, so, cause that, you know, you gotta think that kids are gonna wanna walk down to, you know, they're gonna wanna walk down to Holiday or
Quick trip.
whatever, Quick Trip or something like that, so we gotta keep that in consideration. Other things were, obviously how the traffic, and the road for Watertown was gonna be affected. We're not Watertown, so we can't, you know, speak to that, but, you know, that was for some consideration for the council to maybe reach out to Watertown, and have some discussions for things like that. That's what was brought up.
And determining who's gonna maintain that road once it's.
Well, it's not gonna be us. I don't want any more roads in Minnetrista. Just
Exactly.
saying.
Well, that's one of the concerns.
Outside of what we
So,
committed for, but
yeah.
like, so yeah, we'll go left to right and then back and forth and just have a discussion, kind of talk through some stuff.
I guess I'd like to understand and what are our options for recommendation? Like, obviously we're in a bit of a wheel here, right? Like we can't understand what the recommendation is going to be without the traffic study, and we can't do the traffic study unless we have a development going like
And MinDOT approval.
and MinDOT approval. So we need to kind of do both things in concert, but I also understand it's very clear that we need a place where we can kind of pump the brakes, where if the results good or not safe enough in our city's mind, what are our options there? Like how can we go about that? How can we make sure that we're holding the developer accountable to safety and looking at what MnDOT asks of them?
And
Because
timing.
that's also limiting, right? Like MnDOT, they have am I wrong to assume they have the ultimate decision rights?
Well, they'll either approve the roundabout or they won't. It'll be part of I guess that's the understanding I would need.
So there's a number, if I may,
Yeah, please.
Mr. Chair.
Please.
So there's a number of issues. Again, the traffic study, and this is what the preliminary approval is all about. Because what you do is you say, it's not going to get final approval unless you have this, 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 and this in place. And so in other words, they say, don't do this until this happens. So in other words, this traffic study has to be done. We have to decide, or MnDOT has to decide what kind of intersection it's going to be. And then even if, and I'll use this as an example, even if MnDOT says, well, we just think it's just going to be like it is today, okay? Well, what happened in Woodland Cove, the city of Minnetrista said, we want this.
Got it.
And so there was a lot of negotiating going on and a lot of work, trying to work together with MnDOT to come up with a reasonable and safe intersection. And that's what we want. It doesn't matter if it's Oak Road or if it's Woodland Cove, it doesn't matter, because we want to make sure that not only our current residents, our future residents, the residents of Watertown Township, we want to make sure that you have safe ingress and egress. Now, some of the data that you're already collecting will give us some ideas and will give us some data in terms of how much that road is currently being used. And then we also know from many, many studies on average what a household generates. And so they're going to be able to figure out how many vehicles a day are going to go in and out of that intersection. That's all part of the study. And then they'll come up with a recommendation. And SRF is part of MnDOT's crew that does design work and work for them. They'll come up with a recommendation. And let's just say they say, well, we think a stoplight should go here. But maybe we say, well, we really think a roundabout is better. We're going to work on that. But a lot of these things are going to be spelled out in the preliminary. It's going to be its approval upon if you do this, if you do this, if you do that. As far as traffic goes, there's talk about traffic. We can limit where the traffic ingresses and egresses. We've done that with other developments in our community. In other words, we can say construction traffic has to be off of Highway 7 and has to go back onto Highway 7. You can't go north on Oak Road. And we've worked with developers and with builders before on that. So that I'm not as concerned about that. I think our focal point or our focus is going to be the permanent intersection at Oak Road. Now, having said all of that, what they also look at is where is this, let's just say this roundabout is in Oak Road. They say, where is Buck Road. We have Oak Road too. Buck Road, where is the next roundabout and where is the next roundabout going to be? They look at distances between the roundabouts. So that's also something we have to look at, because currently, whether you know it or not, I'm going to spill the beans here. On Highway 7 and 92, they are planning a roundabout at that intersection. Okay, that's a good thing. It'll help traffic, but we have to find out then, is a roundabout on Buck Road, is that going to be approved by MnDOT? So we have to work with them on that. And we can work through all of that before the final approval comes. And we can also say to the developer, and quite honestly, we're not going to want them to do the asphalt and improvement on Buck Lake Road until the development is well along, because otherwise that road is just going to deteriorate. So, but we'll work on all those issues, dust, traffic. Those are all issues that Minnetrista has worked on many, many, many times in the past. We're kind of getting good at it, but I think all of your input and all of the things that you've said here today, which really focus on roads and the ingress and egress, those are things that we're going to pay closer and really good attention to.
So
if that helps you.
that helps a lot.
Mhm.
That helps frame the actions that we can make as a recommending board. There are already 18 conditions on this, and one of them is that traffic study. So I feel comfortable that that's in flight based on what you're saying to address these things. And I feel like the voices heard tonight have made that even a firmer commitment. The other thing that I would like to see added is I would like some, in this development, some planned green space or a park for the kids, because it's pretty isolated and kids are gonna play. They're gonna play, and these are family homes, so I don't care if it's a playground or just a big old lot that they can play flag football in, but they need a place to run, because with the 3.5 density that we need to hit with Met councils, there's not much for yard left over. So
Is that set by Met Council? Is it 3.5 or is it 3?
3.5 is the new density requirements that we have to meet.
Yep.
We are required to meet those.
I would agree on the green space. I mean, and quite frankly, families aren't going to want to move in there with children if you don't have it. So big consideration for sure. That's me.
I think
I did what Sarah said regarding park for kids. It's like there's been a lot of kids coming out of those houses.
Yeah.
Onto those streets, and a couple of those streets just dead into the next farm field, it looks like, to the east. And at some point, is that gonna be developed?
That's the Turk property.
getting developed.
Don't start talking about that, no.
I do want to go through the conditions. You know, typically we don't go through the conditions
Question still.
quite in detail, but I
Sure.
want to make sure that this body, just so we can make, if you can zoom in on that, we can really go through all the 18 conditions that are listed here and get that right, so we can, that we're not,
What page are they on?
you know.
Yep.
10.
No, typically we don't go quite
Well,
in
we
detail.
read them. We read them.
you know, we read them
We read them. We see that we know what we read
on the
them.
website.
Read them. I guess what I want to know is there a situation where this gets approved and you're working with the city and the roundabout's probably the way to go, and then they say they're not going to do it and they're already building. Is that?
No, they can't build until they get final plat approval.
Okay, so that's the
Yeah, the final
the
plat
timeline.
approval is when they can start, but they can't build until they get infrastructure in.
Okay,
So the infrastructure has to go in first, and then they have to apply for building permits, and then
got it.
then they can start building. That's why the developer said building wouldn't start until next year, probably next fall, I believe he said.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there isn't a sort of situation where that would ever happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
So even if it goes to the city council and you guys, you know, where the approval sits for the PUD and preliminary plat, that doesn't mean it's.
No, they can't start with preliminary plat, and we've been really firm on that. We've had other developments come in and asking for approval to start something before they've finished preliminary plat or met all the conditions, and we've been pretty firm on that. And I think, you know, we'll be looking at that, heads up. And we're going to look at the conditions and make sure that that they're all met before we do final.
Actually had a question that didn't come up, which I was surprised about. In all of these hearings so far, lots of people talked about the landscape blocking that would happen to sort of shield this from other spaces. And I was a little bit surprised that some of the lots specifically on Buck Lake Road and the surrounding areas didn't talk about that. And I know there was quite a bit of information about like the specific trees that would be put in. I just thought it was kind of unusual that wasn't concerns. And I feel like a row of trees is sort of okay, but we just hadn't talked about, you know, if there's any berms or any other sort of site break between the development and 7 and the surrounding areas. It's just surprising.
Do you think you should have that? Or
I mean,
I would
I think
surprise
it's
you about
kind of
it.
nice to not just drive down a highway in a place that we all love because it's very rural looking and
As long as it doesn't affect like sight lines for.
sure,
for
but
visibility.
every other development, people have commented on that for all of these large developments. Just thought it was interesting.
Okay.
Anything else?
Oh,
I couldn't find, what was the item that spoke to the playground area?
well, it's not on
There
here.
isn't one on
We need to
there.
add it.
Have to add
We need to
some.
add it.
Just add that.
We need to add it.
I think we talked about, so I don't know if it's appropriate Mayor, the question to you, would we want to encourage, through the pre-plat, like, site improvement, that there's some kind of construction, traffic management,
You could,
enforced?
yeah, I mean,
Is that, or is that automatic at the council?
I wouldn't say it's automatic, but you can certainly put it in as a condition because we would do that anyway. But I would say if you want to cover your bases,
Okay.
you could make that as a condition.
So what I'm hearing from this body is obviously green space, I guess reinforcing the traffic study, the importance of it. And then we got construction, traffic management, so that way it's not driving through unpaved roads, so, and stuff like that. And then you guys have to figure out how we're gonna comment, but encouraging green space, because that's a parks process, right? That's not really on us.
Well, it is because you're making a recommendation for a preliminary plat. So you could just say you're recommending that a park of some sort, a homeowners association park be provided, or open space or green space.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anything else?
And then did you want to have a stipulation about construction traffic being?
Yeah, we talked about construction, traffic management.
I just.
Yeah, making a note to the
When I think about
council.
construction traffic.
Yeah, and I think one of the neighbors brought that up. So,
Construction traffic management plan.
Yeah, I mean, one way in and out for, at least with.
I think the council figured that out.
Yeah,
How it's managed.
Yeah, I'm just like thinking, I think where I live in Woodland Cove, and we only had two ways out between Lotus and Kings Point, and it was a lot to handle. So I hope that maybe we add something for that.
Okay, ma'am, you had a question?
I have a question regarding the construction traffic control. Who's going to enforce that? Because that road is a Watertown Township road. We don't have a police department.
We do.
But are you going to enforce construction traffic coming down Swede Lake Road onto Buck Lake Road to get down to the development?
There's going to be, obviously, there's a limit, but we can see where traffic is coming from, and they can be told that they can't do that, and if they do, they could be ticketed, I think. We'd have to look into that. We understand.
Need to know how that's going to be covered.
Okay.
I can address that. We are already gonna restrict traffic off of Buck Lake Road for the construction traffic, so we're gonna restrict that with all our subcontractors. And that's not to say one guy won't go rogue and do that at one point in time, but if anyone sees that, contact us right away and we'll make sure our subcontractors are not on that.
And then again, if it's continual, our police department could handle that as well. But we've put up signs saying no construction traffic beyond this point. And most likely, they're not going to want to travel miles and miles on a dirt road. Not when there's a paved highway right where they can access the development from. So that's something to consider too.
So we have those three additional conditions that we're looking to add. Any other conditions?
That covers it for me.
Was that for me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, I have a question. Mayor,
I am the mayor. Nice to meet you too.
very big. People are looking up what?
Berg, I'm going to interrupt you because you know why? We have 19 miles of gravel roads in Minnetrista. We are well aware of gravel roads and their challenges. We know that. So we will try and work with you and with Watertown Township. I can't make any promises, but we are well aware of the challenges that gravel roads provide us. So we know that.
What do you do now? People out walking that work on gravel.
Well, we do dust abatement on all of our gravel roads. So, yeah. So,
Back to the body here. I have three additional comments that, conditions that we want to add to this. Does anyone, obviously we can't do the traffic study, so I guess in the spirit of getting the traffic study done, with the understanding of kind of being able to safely advance this to meet the conditions and the concerns that the neighbors have. I mean, obviously, my recommendation would be to approve this so we can get to make a recommendation for approval so we can get to that point.
Yeah.
And then through the process, obviously, there's lots of opportunities for neighbors to continue to comment, so on and so forth. That would be the most
I think-
logical thing to do.
Yeah, I think we can make this motion with 1 through 18 and add these three.
Yeah.
If we're agreeable.
I go for that.
Yeah, okay.
You're up, you're up, girl, go for
The
it.
other three.
The three would be, we got the construction, traffic management to restrict traffic through Buck Lake Road
North of.
Whatever that
yeah.
looks like.
north, yeah.
We time it.
I guess encouragement of green space, some type of green space. And then reaffirming the importance for the traffic study. Is that what you have?
Yep.
And the outcome of that study to satisfy what they want. I don't know.
We'll figure that out.
Yeah.
So I'll make a motion to recommend the city council adopt an ordinance rezoning the properties to PUD, planned unit development, and a resolution approving the preliminary plat known as Seven Oaks, subject to the conditions outlined in staff report 1 through 18, and through these three additional conditions of looking at adding some sort of park or green space to the plan for the kids. 2, having a construction traffic management plan approved especially focused on reducing northbound traffic and keeping them off the gravel road of our neighbor Watertown. And then 3, in addition to the item number 2 of the traffic study, reinforcing that the resulting solution from that traffic study should make that Buck Lake corner very safe. Fair?
Yeah, whatever they decide.
Yeah.
It's something. Well, it has to be that way. That's what, yeah. Well, that's.
I'm not gonna say that.
I'm not gonna say that, but that's, she outlined the process in which the construction can start, and that has to be in place first.
The construction of the
She said-
homes,
she said
that'd be
that.
site, that could be site
Before
improvements.
construction of the homes, that's fair, but it's not probably gonna be before construction starts if they start grading. For the reasons that we talked about, which are we don't want the road destroyed before it gets done. But if we have construction and traffic management partnered with that, that should resolve both issues, right? Which is why we added the 3, not just the 2.
Right.
Yep, but there won't be houses yet, so.
Can you guarantee us that there will be a roundabout for you?
We can't guarantee that.
Nope.
Well, then I think we should stop his promotion and pull that project until it's properly.
Well, that's,
Shouldn't have parked before the car.
okay,
You're talking circles and you're making sort of fools of the rest of us.
we're not,
Waiting for us to call. Are
sir,
we gonna have a guarantee?
sir,
Yes.
we're not making fools of you. This is an open public forum meeting where we're taking all of what you've said and all of your input, and we're taking it, we're listening, okay? Now, having said that, I've said this before and I'm gonna say it again. MnDOT has the final approval as to what type of intersection there's going to be. And if the council and the planning commission and staff feel that the roundabout is the best solution here, then we will work as diligently as we can to make that happen. But again, final,
This is the third meeting we've been at.
and that's because it's a process.
The last time you asked us to leave so you could carry on your regular meeting. We're only leaving here with, we would just assume it's a waste of our time.
No,
Put in that you're gonna represent Highway 7 and Roundabout.
well, I can tell you that this body does care about
I wouldn't be here
comments here.
8:00 at night if we didn't.
We're
care.
citizens, we're neighbors too. I
Come on.
mean, we do not financially benefit. Like, I'm actually, if I could, I mean, I think the density is a little too, 3.5 is a lot. We have no choice. Like, it's tough to, and we're, you know, I guess restricted, and we have to encourage the process so we can support what you're looking for. I believe me, it's a process, and I promise you that no one here, including the mayor or anyone on this commission body, and I'll put my foot out there and say the council, they are not trying to push an agenda in regards to, you know, pushing these developments down our neighbors' throats.
You gotta trust us, I think. I mean, I live in Woodland Cove and I'm a resident there, and they've done everything to make that a safer way for us to get in and out. And so I have a lot of confidence in the mayor and the council that is gonna do right by what you guys want.
I've lived here my whole life. I've got a farm in Watertown. My dad's in Bonnie. I'm in Minnetrista. I care about this a lot.
So hold on, just a minute. Mr. Chair, can I say a few words?
Yes.
So, in kind of to answer you said that you've been at 3 meetings, and that's correct. So there's a whole process that we have to go through, and we go through this process in order to get input from the community and from individuals. So the process here was first we had to decide whether or not we wanted to incorporate this parcel into what's called the MUSA. That's the urban service area. In other words, are we going to extend urban services such as sewer and water to this property? So that was the first meeting, and that was the meeting where we decided, or the planning commission, and then ultimately the council decided, okay, we're okay with including this into our urban service area. Then it had to go to the Met Council, and then from the Met Council, it had to go to a whole lot of different organizations, the Met Council, DNR. I mean, we're talking a lot of different entities. And then once that was approved, okay, that was the first meeting. Then there's called a sketch plan or a concept plan. That's the second meeting. And that's when the developer comes in and it's a high level, like 10,000 feet up, just kind of giving the community an idea as to what they have in mind. And then from there, then the developer goes out and develops a little more details in the plan. And then he comes back, and he's here now tonight. So this is the third meeting. Then the next meeting, and this is the planning commission meeting, this is what's called a public hearing. It's a public meeting, but it's also a public hearing. That's a difference. The public hearing means that you all have an opportunity and the right to speak to the planning commission, and they have to listen to you. They have to open it up. They have to take your comments, and that's what they've done tonight. Then the next step is it goes to the city council, because they have a recommendation, and it's only a recommendation. It comes to the city council at an open public meeting. It's not a public hearing, but a meeting. And I would say to you, whenever we have an agenda item like this, I do open it up to the public. I'm going to probably limit it to not 2 hours, but I will also invite a few comments as well, just so that the rest of the council can hear the comments and some of the things that you all have said here tonight. But not only that, but I too will share these comments with the council in addition to sharing them with staff. And we're also going to be talking to the developer in the meantime as well. So that's now the fourth meeting where we're going to take comments, we're going to take your input, we're going to decide what we can do to make this happen, but also to make it safe for all of you, because that's really the biggest issue that we've heard here tonight. You're concerned about the traffic on Buck Lake. Buck Lake, sorry about that. Buck Lake, we hear you loud and clear. You've also said you're concerned about the ingress and egress and about safety. We hear you loud and clear. We're going to do what we can. But We also want development to occur in Minnetrista. And the reason why is because we have to. The Met Council tells us that we have to have so many more units come into our community, and it has to be at a density of 3.5 units an acre. So we look at it and we say, where is the best place to do this? And we've looked at it, it's close to infrastructure, it's close to a major highway. And so we've looked at all of that, but there's all these other things that have been brought up tonight, as well as what's in the recommendations that we're going to be looking at as well. And we're going to try and make this a very good development, but something that's also going to be safe for all of you.
And Mayor, I just want to clarify so the audience can, and people at home can hear. The next process, if it were to be approved at the city council, is that the developer can move forward with the traffic study, and then if they can do the I guess, site improvement with the conditions that are set forth in that.
They have to come in for final approval before they can start digging.
Okay.
So,
And then is there more, is there a path?
well, they have to come in for final approval.
Before homes could be built as well?
Yes, yeah. They can't do anything. They can't bring a bulldozer. I mean, they can't do anything until they get final approval. They're not going to get final approval until all of the conditions in the preliminary plat are met.
It does feel slow and it does feel circular, and it's slow on purpose so that you all get to have a voice. We don't want it to go fast. I mean, not too fast.
In the loop on the highway.
I would just say you need to check our website, because we're only required to send out notices for. I bet this gentleman up here will help you out. I bet they can help you out. Well, okay, let me explain that. Let me explain that. We are required by our ordinances and by state statute to send out public notices for a public hearing, okay? We are not required to do that by state law for a public meeting. Okay, remember I said that there's a difference. So for our city council meeting, we don't need to send all of you in another public notice. So what I'm telling you to do is go on our website and check and see what the agendas are. We meet the first and third Mondays of every month. The agendas usually come out on a Thursday afternoon or Friday morning. Just check it, see what's on the agenda. This item is probably going to be on the August 3rd meeting. I say probably because it's not set yet. And so, but we're not going to notify all of you because that's an extra time, extra money, and we just can't do that. So check our website. Okay. Well, then you're doing a good job. Ma'am, I'm sorry. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate it. So again, neighbors, I wholeheartedly believe that this body, the city council, the city, they're listening to. So I don't know what that's worth to you, but I mean, that's my opinion. I think my fellow commissioners would share that. So, all right.
So I second.
So you made a motion.
I did.
Condition 1
Pass it.
through 18. Plus the additional 3.
Yep.
I'm looking for a second.
Second.
Okay. Lindsay, second that. All in favor?
Aye.
That was, all of us
Unanimous.
unanimously.
It's getting late. It's
Move
getting late.
forward. You got that? Any questions at all?
We've added the concerns. Now we pass it to council and there'll be more stuff. going
And that
on.
is likely to be on the August 3rd
Yep.
In some capacity, yes.
in some capacity, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So you have an opportunity to be there as well.
And all the times are on the website when the meetings are.
Those
Just
three
listed there.
things don't sound like a lot, but I promise they hold weight.
They do.
As the developer's nodding over here, he's like, okay, it's gotta get out my head.
Like, oh boy.
Yeah.
We've just added to his list of things to do. So,
All right.
Yeah.
yep.
All right. Awesome. All right. Next item on the agenda is
If people want to
You
clear
guys
out.
want to go, whoever wants to.
Leave.
D, comprehensive plan amendment. I'll give everyone a moment to step out if they choose to. You're more than welcome to stay.
I was confused by all the Carver County stuff under this one. We're not in Carver County.
They're
Like, oh, Buck Lake Road is part of Watertown, which is Carver. Oh. I was like, wait a second. Okay.
I got lost in the car.
I was like, wait a second. I mean, I love Carver County.
Pictures and.
I should be Carver. Minnetrista should be Carver County. That's true. That's true. Yeah.
I'm like, wait a second.
It is a good thing. I know.
Good to know.
Carver County. Nick, can you tell, hey, Nicholas, what page is that on?
111.
111? Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we have the next item on the agenda. Can you tell us about that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chair, members of the commission. The last hearing this evening is a application for a comprehensive plan amendment and a expansion of the Muse line, the Metro Urban Services area. The property in question is 3500 County Road 92, located on the northeast corner of St. Bonnie in Minnetrista, south of 110 and east of 92. It's about a 69 acre parcel, gross size. The request would be to take that from the current stage development urban reserve area to a residential low medium in that 3.5 units per acre that we've discussed with the previous application that the Met Council's outlining in their 2050 system statements. So in your staff report, I have outlined some of the things to think about. This time I did also include, I know we got some new parties in here, kind of an outline of the process of how the development works, where the comprehensive plan amendment is really the first step in the process. You work through that with the city and then the Met Council. Once it makes it through that process, should it go forward, we do have a conceptual level plan here, so do have some of that to discuss, but the applicant could submit a formal application for that if they chose. Then we'd have a preliminary plat and a rezoning hearing, just like we had before. That would happen down the line after the conditions and everything of the comprehensive plan amendment. Like I said, should it move forward and should everything be satisfied? So kind of outline that for you. If there's questions about that, I'm happy to discuss that and answer those questions as needed. We did send out notice for a comprehensive plan amendment. It is a 500-foot notice. So we did send those out. We did speak with one person regarding it, but we did not get any formal written comments regarding this. But we do have some individuals here that would be welcome to speak at the public hearing. So looking at the information provided by the applicant and kind of looking at the city's long-range plan, this is an area that's in a staged area, so it's an area the city could certainly consider for possible urbanization, which would be the first step, would be the comprehensive plan amendment. So the commission here should hold the public hearing, give people the opportunity to speak before it decides to make a recommendation. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask. We do have our applicant here as well, who can give some comments as well if that's needed.
So this body, we're gonna be recommending the comprehensive plan amendment. You guys have any questions before we open the hearing? No? You good?
No, I'm good.
Do you need to use the restroom? I just want to make sure you're good.
I'm okay.
You okay?
I'm not contagious. I just have a cough.
Okay.
I'm really glad to hear that.
Mayor appreciates that.
The Mayo Clinic.
Yeah.
All right.
We're working on it.
All right.
Okay. Then let's open up the public hearing for item number B, the comprehensive plan.
It's me.
Anyone here to speak to that?
Hey, what's gonna happen?
Oh,
So, okay,
Like, are you looking for like the plan, the layout,
okay, yeah.
something like this?
so again, what we're doing here tonight is simply deciding whether or not, the first step, whether or not it should be included in it's called Metropolitan Urban Service Area. That means then it would be designated as being receiving city sewer and water. primarily sewer is the issue, but, so it'd be included in what's called the MUSA. So that's the first step. So the Planning Commission has to take input, public comments regarding that part of it. Once it's in the MUSA, then it can be developed. So what the developer has done is shown a potential plan. I mean, it's just maybe this is what we'll do. So we don't really have to look at the plan. I mean, if you want to make comments, that's fine. But right now, tonight, it's just basically whether or not we want to amend our comprehensive plan to bring this into the urban service area. Does that make sense? Okay, and then the next step would be, so then the next step is sometimes they do sketch plan, but sometimes not. So then the next step would be preliminary. It all kind of depends, and I'm not trying to be wishy-washy here, but I'm just trying to say, so sometimes they come in, what's called sketch plan, and that means a concept plan. That's another name for it. And then after that, they come in with a preliminary plan, which is what we did previously with the other development. And that's where you really get down into the nitty-gritty and where you really look at the details, and you want to make sure that you have all those details done, and you want to make sure you get all the details in there before you, so that when the developer goes back to the drawing board, then when they come back for the final approval, if they've met all of those conditions, then it's basically approved. Okay, so it's a step process. Does everybody understand that, or?
I'll definitely tell you, like, this concept right here could be completely different. We've seen like, you know, in this phase, by the time it gets to the next phase, it could be, completely flipped around. Who knows? And, it changes quite a bit between.
Yeah, and we're not approving this. We're not approving this plan.
It might be
we're not
helpful to
approving
look
this
at
plan.
117, because that's what we're actually approving, right?
Yeah, go back to.
Like if you switch it to page 117, which is itty bitty tiny, but he has a zoom button. What we're doing now is we're saying, do we think that this yellow area, like we have parts that are permanently rural, parts of it are, 20-acre lots. We know that the Met Council is gonna us to increase our density. Is this an area where it's a place to put some of that density that we know we have to do?
Does it make sense to put it
Yes.
here? That's what we're.
Did I describe that okay?
If you need
So
to,
now, at this point, you gotta name and address.
Open
name
the
and
hearing.
address.
Yeah, she opened the, yeah, we've been talking.
Dean Peters, and I live in St. Bonifacius. My backyard butts up 8680 Trista Lane East. So, and I know this is going to be a weird question, but as a person in a different city invited to this thing, I have to ask the question: is what is St. Bonnie's involvement as far as this going forward? Like water coming from St. Bonnie, is the sewer
Fire department.
passing through St. Bonnie and causes additional fees, volume problems? I know the traffic, just like that last thing, I can tell you that we try to walk across 92 to get to the other neighborhood, just to walk, and the traffic's awful. It needs a stoplight there as it is. And so now I'm thinking of 300 plus cars coming out of going past it again, that kind of thing. But what does St. Bonnie, what do you have to work with on St. Bonnie in order for this to
Please,
go?
Mayor.
I can answer that. So a couple of things. One, we're not hooking up this development or any other development in Minnetrista to St. Bonnie water. We are in the throes of building our third water treatment plant to the tune of over $20 million. So we want to recoup that money, and so the people that come or develop in Minnetrista are going to be on Minnetrista water. Okay. As far as fire, so we have our own police department. And as you know, we also, St. Bonnie contracts with us for policing. So our police department will take care of safety issues there. But the other thing is we contract with St. Bonnie Fire, and then they provide fire service to Minnetrista. And this is an area that they would provide fire service to. One of the things that we go through is we do talk to our public safety people, especially our fire department. They have to look at everything, and as they will with the previous development, and they'll tell us what is needed and how they can provide fire service for us. The other thing that we've been doing for fire protection is we've been talking with Mound to try and create a fire district or fire JPA, and they already work together very closely. So I think we're pretty well covered. The good thing for you is the more development that Minnetrista has, guess what? We pay more for your fire department and you pay less. So that's kind of a good thing for you. As far as roads go, they shouldn't have to go through St. Bonnie roads. The only one that they might affect would be Highland, but we're going to be looking at that to see how we can minimize traffic on Highland. I've already mentioned that before to staff, so we're going to be looking at that. We'd prefer that they go out to the county road or to this 110 or to 92. So we'll be talking about all those issues, but sewer goes to Minnetrista, and I don't think in this case that it goes through St. Bonnie.
And then, not to be cynical, but why are we invited here?
Because you're within the 500 feet that's required.
Yeah.
You're forced to.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if you have comments, we're here to listen to what you have to say as well.
So then, when would be the next meeting for us in like what the other development just had?
Oh,
When
geez.
would ours be?
It can be anywhere from 3 to 6 months.
Yeah, I mean, because it's obviously goes through our process here. And then it has to go to the Met Council, and they can take a couple months on their end to review it. So until that gets completed, until they get all their, preliminary drawings like you saw in the last packet item. So it's hard to say. I mean, like I said.
And we've seen instances where there are other properties that don't necessarily pass the next phase.
Right.
Developer may choose not to move forward. It's kind of like on them as well. If they want to continue to push it forward, there's been, granted, like the mayor said before, if you're within 500, feet, you're going to get this notification for the public hearing every single time.
Well, and maybe this is a little too early, but I just want to put the 2 cents in is that if, I've been here, I think we were the 5th house in St. Bonnie. And so we've seen this area grow.
In that development, I bet. Not in St. Bonnie, though.
Oh, I'm sorry. In that development.
I know what you're saying. Yeah.
And so I went through the stage of having children grow up to be, and there's nowhere to bike. There's just, you go down the hill and that kind of thing. So if you were going to build a development that close to St. Bonnie, whether it's called St. Bonnie or Minnetrista, I would hope that you would factor in that the people here would want to go there and the people there would want to go here.
Yeah.
When I see that design, and I know it's real early, there's nothing to cut into there. So you'd have to go 7 in order to come in. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And then, right. And so I would hope that you would factor in the fact that we would be right next to you guys.
Right.
And we would want to be seen as kind of big neighborhood that's kind of paying our taxes to different places.
Connected communities.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
right.
Really good comment. Thank you so much, sir.
And we'll be looking forward to. My wife just retired. I'm about to retire, so we figure we're going to start coming to these things.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is our first one, so we're like, oh boy, we got a lot more.
If you think this is fun, you should go to city council meeting. Those are even more fun.
They're usually not this spicy, honestly.
Yeah, well, they can be spicy sometimes, but yeah.
Anyone else would like to speak on this matter?
Did you open the public hearing
He
officially?
did. Yeah.
Okay.
He
all
opened it. We just started talking outside.
Right.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
My name's Catherine Jaraki. I live 8960 Trista Lane in St. Bonifacius. I'm one of your neighbors. For something like this, I just had a question. The developer for the last property, the last development mentioned that one of the manhole covers on Wildwood would connect to that property. Is there a similar hookup? I know you just said the water won't come through, but with the sewer?
First of all, we haven't done a lot of the engineering yet on this, okay? And we're working with St. Bonnie on that agreement, and it actually will benefit St. Bonnie. So, but I don't think so, but I can't tell you for sure because I'm not the engineer on the project, and I don't even know if any engineering has been done.
Okay.
That would be the next process, like after
Okay.
this.
So it would help, because I know the St. Bonnie sewer system is old, so that would be a net benefit.
And we're actually looking at that, and talking with the developer and St. Bonnie regarding that issue. I mean, so we don't want to be a bad neighbor in that regard.
You guys are great neighbors.
Anyone else like to speak on this matter, sir? Name and address when you get to the mic.
F House 3585 Highland. I'm gonna try to keep this simple, so yes and no questions. First of all, the Met Council 3.5, they want you to meet that density and you can't go below it. Correct.
Correct, yes.
I don't want to get into specifics. I'm assuming the next meeting would be for specifics about the development, traffic, entrances, stuff like that.
Correct.
Correct. If you guys okayed the MUSA for this, who pays for that? Because it seems to me, the city, my taxes, pay for city water and sewer to get up there, and a developer makes a lot of money.
Are you a Minnetrista resident?
Yes.
Okay. No, you don't pay for that. The developer does.
Thank you.
So we make sure that, so we've been very clear, I mean, for many years, that when a development comes in, a development pays for the development.
Okay, this might be for the next meeting, but I'll say it anyways. This particular map here shows a huge amount of forest being knocked down.
An amount of what?
Forest.
Oh, okay.
Green.
There's not a lot.
Quite a bit.
I mean, yeah, okay.
I live there, I know.
Okay.
I drive by it every day. I don't notice that.
But so if that was being kept in there, the request to keep more green space and keep places for the deer and the turkeys,
Right.
the guy would maybe have to put, for Met Council approve it, might have to put on more high density housing like townhomes and things.
Yeah, possibly, yeah. And that's something to look at.
That's how it works with the Met Council.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's
An
all.
overall average, yep. So yeah, if they were to take conservation areas, that would likely, you could saw how the plan laid out with single family at 3.5, to your point, that forest, a lot of it goes down. So yes, if they wanted to conserve that, it would result in a higher density, a townhome or something like that in other areas of the development that maybe are open.
Right, so I was thinking about that.
And that's good point. Thank you.
All right, that's
Thank
it.
And the example to what you talked about before, sir, is the developer in previous meeting or previous, I guess, agenda item. They were building the lift station and then turning that over to the city for maintenance. And that's an example of them covering that cost.
Yeah,
Right.
so they have to put in all the infrastructure. And in this case, they would have to put in the sewer lines connecting to wherever, and water lines as well. So yeah, all of that is paid for by the developer.
Correct.
Anybody else like to speak on this matter? Okay, we got two more.
Sonia Faust, 3585 Highland Road. We are we have moved the property in question just to the south and just to the east.
Sorry,
And then our-
Minnetrista or St. Bonnie?
Minnetrista.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
House right next door to us.
Right.
So obviously, we know the land well and we adore Dave and Sue. And we understand this is a big deal to sell that property. I have a hard time with it, and I know this is early in the process, but the traffic is a huge issue. I was here 2 years ago talking about another issue up on the corner of 110 and 92. And ultimately, it was decided at that time, the two factors why that wasn't allowed or limited CUP was A, traffic, and B, the quality of the rural life that Minnetrista has. And I know this is early and not a lot of neighbors are here right now, but the consensus is the same. And when you're looking at 200 houses going in there, being subject to the Met Council, you know, we could end up with apartment buildings. We could end up with, I don't know what else. You know a lot more than I do. But just because the developer came up with this conceptual plan right now, it could be very different. And I think we need to look ahead and say, is that something we want to look at or have to deal with down the road?
I don't think it's gonna be apartment complex because it's residential, low, medium.
Yeah.
I don't think that that's an option. Just
Even with the trees and all that, I'm guessing the trees would just be wiped down, which is a shame. And that's just my second point. I know you guys have all had a really long night and you're talking about the same thing over and over. Being here for the other development was very helpful for us and taught us a lot of things. But so a traffic study, of course.
Yeah.
Highland cannot handle that. Like I said, 2 years ago, we can sit in our living room, which is in the front of the house, and we can hear conversations of bikers coming down the road, and because of the valley that we're in, and you put 200 more houses in there, let alone, maybe, the senior center and, more ambulances and poles and that sort of thing. It would, traffic study, a noise study, and then also environmental. We have deer go back and forth across our yard. We have turkeys. The Sagners been very good stewards of that land. And there's not much of that right in our area because we have all these neighborhoods around there, except for going down Halsted, of course. So I would, is there a way to do an environmental study? I mean, where are these animals going to go?
So it depends on the size of the development. There's called an EAU, so an environmental assessment worksheet. Sometimes if it's large enough, and I don't think this meets that criteria, but they have to do an even more in-depth study. I don't think they have to do it with this one, but they have to, generally they'll have to do an environmental assessment worksheet, I think.
No,
They
that's,
don't.
I don't believe this meets the threshold, unfortunately, for that. So I don't think, it's up to them if they want to do that for their own planning, but I don't think anything in our ordinance or in the Met Council's ordinance would require them to do that. I don't believe they meet the unit total threshold. There's thresholds that you have to exceed to get either an EAW or an AUAR, which is even a further advanced environmental study. I don't believe that this development would meet those thresholds, unfortunately. So.
Okay. Well, this is kind of off the wall, but we use the trail a lot. And just yesterday, our oldest son was saying that, Mom, watch for deer on the trail. Because I had a bike accident earlier this year, broke my arm. And he said, watch for deer on the trail. If anyone's going to hit a deer, it'll be you. So, I'm just thinking, enough said. You get my point.
You can have the deer from my neighborhood.
Yeah, so I guess I encourage you as a commission to consider, do we need another neighborhood right there where we have a lot of neighbors, where there's going to be great disruption, bringing the water and sewer up the road, when you have a big development going in west on 7, and then what hasn't been discussed tonight is the big development east on 7. And I don't even know how many houses are in that one, but it runs basically a little past County Road 11 down to Grimm Road. That's going to be a lot of cars. Great tax base, but it's going to be a lot of cars. So I would encourage you just to think about, do you even want it to get to that Met Council layer where they're going to tell us or tell you, here's what you're going to have. So that's my thoughts. Thank you.
I'll say to the neighbors here is that there's a 2040 plan that's done. And that's, that's really important to pay attention to. I know we're starting that process now. And when we're looking at that full map, can go to the previous map. Yeah, that's 17. And they're talking about the density and where to, I mean, it's a negotiation between the city and the Met Council. And when they're doing that 2040 plan,
Density is never an,
I mean,
they just dictate the density to us. And we worked hard. I don't know if all of you know this. They wanted to do over 4 units an acre. They wanted to make that a requirement. And we worked hard with our representatives and with other representatives on this Metropolitan Council and encouraged them to bring it down. We wanted 3 units an acre, but it ended up being 3.5. And we did everything we could to bring it down.
Yeah. So I just wanted to mention that 2040 planning, when the comments are open, it's really important to make those comments because, several years later, we get affected by all this. So, encourage everyone to make those comments at that time as well as when you're, bodies like this. So.
Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Anybody else? We had.
She was next.
Yep, right over here, this lady.
Hello, my name is Marge Moran. I'm at 3607 Heidelberg Lane in St. Bonnie.
Okay.
I would appreciate it if you would vote to stay with your comprehensive plan as is. I see a need for more development on the north side of St. Bonnie. You've got it on the east, you've got it on the west. 92 is a problem, 110 is a problem. There's no walking trail or pathway along 92 to get to downtown St. Bonnie. I don't even walk to get the mail anymore because that road is dangerous. And as some previous people have mentioned, it's hard to cross 92. I water the plants by the cemetery and I get the water from the church. I get in the car and I drive across the road to get my water and to come back because I don't want to cross 92 with a pail of water. So, I really don't see the need for all this development in a 3 or 4 year span. I think the 2040 is more reasonable. Highland Road is going to be a problem because people will scoot down there, up and down, they'll get off. And I do it myself. I get off on Highland Road to avoid 92 and come into my house through the back roads. So I just would encourage you to vote to stay with your comprehensive plan as is. Thank you.
Do you want to make another comment? Please.
I'm Angela Bowl. We own 8700 County Road, 110 West. And my only comment is that it is a shame that we were going to be building, in the next 6 months to a year, and then to now potentially have a development across, 110 from us. So my hope is that, if the development does go forward, that, there is, some green spaces, that there is potentially, a berm or some type of, trees along that so that it kind of keeps that open space, that we all really love about Minnetrista. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Anyone else? Okay, I'm going to close the hearing and then we can discuss. So I guess my question is, if we didn't recommend and the council didn't approve this, those applicants, what could they build there?
They could subdivide into 10-acre lots.
10-acre minimums, yep.
Yeah. That's what I thought.
They do with those 10-acre lots.
So with the developments that we have approved, Musa's 4, do we need this now? When do we anticipate we need more?
We really won't know until we hear from the Met Council. So the Met Council, what they do is they say, one, you have to update your comprehensive plan every 10 years. And the 10 years is coming up real soon. In fact, we have already approved a committee to work on our next update, which is due in 2028, in December of 2028. And so we're talking 2 years from now. Also, what the Met Council does is they have all these, they're called systems, and they say you have to provide us, and you have to provide us with information for all these systems: stormwater runoff, wetlands, transportation, dense housing, and so on. And so, and the comprehensive plan is about yay thick, and it consists of a lot of different things, and it's very in depth. So but the other thing they do is, besides telling us what the density is for each development, they also tell us how many new units or how many additional units the city has to absorb in the metro area. So they say, Minnetrista, you're on the hook for, I'm just using a figurative number, okay? They say you're on the hook for 500 more units for your 2040, 2050 comprehensive plan. And then in addition to that, you have to develop at 3.5 units an acre. So we have to look at those two things. We have to look at how many units are they going to require us to add to our community, and then at what density. And we're really, that's out of our control.
And an additional thing that's out of our control is those property owners get to choose what they want to do with their property. So even though we do the plan, we don't know when and where, you know, that property owner is going to choose to,
Right.
Make an investment.
Yeah.
Because certainly that property owner could have decided, well, I don't need that, I don't want to join the moose and just do we can't stop them from doing the 10-acre.
Right. So that's absolutely correct. So currently we have a few more properties, but not a lot, that are in the Musa area in Minnetrista. And so far, those properties haven't developed for various reasons. Maybe they want to sell, but they haven't found the right buyer, or maybe they didn't develop for various reasons. But so we're running out of space, if you will, out of properties that are currently within our Musa area. So we suspect, again, I can't say for sure because we don't know yet, but we suspect that we're probably going to be on the hook for X number of units. Now, with these two new developments that this lady mentioned, the one that we talked about earlier, plus the other one on Highway 7, we don't know if that's going to be sufficient in terms of the number of units. It might, but we also as a city look forward and look out, let's say 10 years. And what we have to do is we have to say, okay, we want to plan slow, moderate, sustainable growth. In other words, we don't want to do explosive growth that's going to cause us a lot of pain, because explosive growth does cause communities pain. But we have to look out and say, okay, where would development be the most efficient and the most make the most sense from infrastructure and from roads, and then will do those properties meet that requirement. So that's kind of what we're wrestling with right now. We're a little bit ahead of the game in terms of bringing more properties into the Musa, but so there's kind of a catch, because if we don't, because we have willing sellers or willing people right now, property owners that want to come in, and if we say no, go away, maybe we do that, I don't know. But if we say, no, we don't want to do that, go away, then in 5 years or 6 years, we're out of property. We're out of developments. And then we have to start laying our staff off, or we can't, we're not growing. And so there's a lot and then we have this infrastructure that we have to pay for. That's the other thing. We have all this water infrastructure that we've heavily invested in, with the idea in mind that we're going to have more development. So what we try and do is the development that we have come in, we want to make it as best as possible. And we don't like development. We wish we could just kind of stay the way we are right now. That would be great, but that's also not reality. And so we have to do the best we can with what we have and what we're required to do. Does that make sense?
So this being already part of urban reserve, this is an area that we identified as part of the comprehensive plan that would go residential when the opportunity presented itself, which it seems like it is. So that makes me feel like this is the right thing to do.
Yeah, it's also.
Even though I live down Halsted and I don't love it.
It's also hard to, you have these property owners that are, one of the highest and best use of their property,
Yes.
right? And it kind of falls within, it's hard to, impose what I know is going to be tough restrictions going forward through the process, that there are going to be restrictions and there are, opportunities to, make sure that something that's desirable for the community is incorporated there. So I mean, it's definitely a challenge.
What?
Yeah.
We talk a lot about 7, but what control or any would we have over the intersection between at 92 and 110? Like, is that all MDOT right there?
So that's Hennepin County.
Okay.
And so what Hennepin County does, and obviously if this proceeds, goes to Hennepin County and they look at that. And it's really, I don't want to say in their court, but we would have to work with them on a control at 110 and 92.
I was just wondering the governing body specifically.
Yeah, it would be Hennepin County in that case. Yeah.
Yeah.
In a sense, they're a little bit easier to deal with because they're a little bit smaller than MnDOT, but you never know. I mean.
Yeah.
Do you have an estimate of how many, I mean, I saw the preliminary, I guess, the concept drawing before. How many units would, remind me again, how many units? they-
237.
237.
Okay.
You look at, these are each of these is the same body home. And you've got these at like twice, or half the size. Why is the density so different?
Because when your development developed in St. Bonnie, when did you move in there? Just, okay. And yeah, so when Minnetrista back in the 90s and early 2000s, you know what our density was? 2 units an acre. And probably when you developed in your development, you probably were similar in terms of that density. That's why you have bigger lots. We would love to have 2 units an acre. We would love that. That would be great, but we can't do that now. It's unfortunate. But yeah, we used to develop, in fact, we developed at 2 units an acre, and then the Met Council got on our case and said, you have to do 2.5. So, I mean, not over the density. So what a developer can do is, and this is the case, this is kind of a scenario here, what they can do is they can put in townhomes, let's say a lot of townhomes, and then they can create larger single-family lots. And so that's oftentimes what they'll do. In the Woodland Cove development, for instance, in order to meet the density, we said, okay, we'll allow 1 apartment building. And we were able to get a whole lot of density in that apartment building. And then we were able to have a little bit bigger lots in Woodland Cove, not all over, but there were then some available area that we could do larger lots. So it kind of depends on the developer or the development and the city. We kind of work together to try and bridge that as much as we can, but we don't have a lot of say. It's actually more. Yeah. I've heard horror stories. I've heard stories that there's some communities that have as much as 8 units or 4 units. And so I'm not exactly sure how they determine it, but I've been talking to some other mayors. And so we're fortunate. We have to consider ourselves fortunate that it's only 3.5. But
It does seem dense.
it does. Yeah.
Especially when you look at Minnetrista.
Right.
And you got
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Growth is.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I just want to make sure that we're still with.
So again, tonight, we're not approving the layout or anything like that, just simply whether or not the community residents would like to see this added into the developable area. And it is zoned currently as a stage development area. And that has been the case for the last 8.5 years. So yeah, probably even before that. So.
Any other comments?
You have another comment?
No.
You had another.
Go ahead.
Understand that, but a lot of the lots around this are 10-acre lots. Why were those allowed to be 10 acres, but this needs to be 3.5 per acre? Can you explain?
So.
Yeah, I mean, I can if you want to. I mean, so the agricultural zoning district allows the 1 per 10, and that's, if you look back at this map here, it's like the light olive green color, or sorry, the dark olive green is the 1 in 10. The light olive green is the 1 in 40. So somewhere between the 1 in 10 and the 3.5 per 1 is this staged area where it acts a lot like the 1 in 10, but it gives the landowner the opportunity to make this application and make this request for the city to consider the possibility to move to the 3.5 units an acre. So it's called staged because it's kind of somewhere in between. Like I said, it acts more rural at 1 per 10 on its face, but when you come and you change the plan, then it gets to the 3.5. So it's just areas that are like, hey, this might happen, it might not. I mean, we've had with our last go around on our comprehensive plan, we had a lot of the shifting of this staged area. There was some up in the northeast corner of the city. We took that all out because we weren't seeing the growth there. It wasn't likely to happen. There was also some in other areas around St. Bonnie, and actually this landowner in particular wanted to keep it the way it was in that staged area, not move to the lighter olive color. So they were looking forward at the time that, hey, this might happen, and now we're here, and this developer is asking the request with the permission of the landowner to do that, so.
"1967. They were created by state legislation to be the regional policymakers, planners for the 7-county metro area. And that happened in, I believe it was 1967. Right.
The current rules, yes. As we just talked about, at times it might have been 2, it might have been 3. As time goes on, they're finding room for people, it seems, so.
And we've talked to our legislators about this, believe me, and asked them if they would kind of change there's something, change change their authority over cities. But it hasn't happened yet, so. If you're in the music.
All right, so any other comments with this body?
Close public hearing.
At some point, yeah.
You close, all right, it's closed. Yeah, just it's hovering outside the line. Outside the
Make
line
sure
a little
everyone,
bit.
we've got an audience, so
Okay.
get everybody's comments in.
We'll get it collaborative. No, I don't have any questions. I mean.
So we addressed some utility issues, transportation, road, environmental issues, which I had written down because I saw the large, forest, and I was like, wow, that's a lot, what's wetland, what's not, what's who knows if it's truly going to be 68. I mean, it could be significantly reduced based on, different studies, what we end up, is actually buildable, what the density and all that stuff ends up being, right?
No, 3.5.
3.5, yeah. I mean, I guess the number of units, depending on how much net land is there, I mean, that could change a little bit,
Right.
but I wouldn't expect
The
it.
net land changes, then that.
I mean, I don't believe a wetland delineation and that stuff has been studied, but I mean, once that gets done, then you'll know what you're netting out and then you'll kind of know what 3.5 looks like. I mean, I wouldn't anticipate a large change based on, I mean, their concept plan provides enough detail where, I mean, you're not going to get a dramatic shift and have, you know, twice as much wetland or something like that.
Okay.
That would seem unlikely.
Mhm.
Any other questions?
None right now. So early.
Let me see if I have any other questions here, because we did discuss a lot. The timing, we talked about that. All right, Pat. All right, that's it for me. I don't have any other questions. Anybody want to make a recommendation?
Are we voting to have this block of yellow here move forward then with the developer?
So we're making a recommendation to the city council to approve the or amend the comprehensive plan to include this property in the MUSA.
The MUSA.
Enable a developer to come in and.
Yeah.
Right, take a look at it. Yeah,
Yeah, correct.
early stage.
Early stage.
Early stage.
So what's the language you need?
It's on page 112. Do you want me to do it?
My computer died.
Motion to recommend the city council approve the requested comprehensive plan amendment at 3500 County Road 92 based on certain findings of fact outlined in the staff report and subject to conditions 1 through 2.
I would second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that was unanimous. All right.
All right.
You all.
Thank you all. Have a good evening.
Okay, so the next item on the agenda after everyone leaves is going to be the informational items, so staff report and then council. Wait until the staff leaves or the audience.
Oh, thank you for leaving.
You guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I really appreciate your, guiding and.
Sorry, I don't mean to.
I'm serious because you get to
It's so
help.
informal, it's so
You're
informative.
helping them,
Understand.
understand the
Yeah.
process.
I'm
and
always
that's what's
happy when
confusing.
you're here when this is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because the process is important and I think
Yeah,
people,
it is it's a complicated process and
It
we
is.
appreciate your experience.
Thanks.
all they're hearing is that we're approving something.
Yeah.
They don't see that
Or
there's more.
recommended.
Yeah, well,
It hurt my,
Yeah.
perception is
man's-
everything. They're thinking we're approving something.
yeah,
They
that
don't
man's
understand.
comment that,
Yeah.
that we were trying to like fool him.
Yeah.
And that's really so the exact opposite of what we're trying to do. Like we listened to all they said and we created 3 things and added it to say that, hey, we heard you, and it still didn't feel good. So having you help them understand.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
And I want to say, brought this up the last time this happened when we had a crowd here, is that you ought to have a handout that says, when you're looking from bare land to a final approval for houses, here's the process, here's the steps. Today, we're on number 7, and that's what this meeting is about. I don't know why we don't do that. It's just, it seems so silly.
Well, I outlined it in the, I guess I didn't do a good enough job in the report.
No, they just won't ever.
I'm thinking of a handout that they would say, that they would see that says, we're in a process of developing the land for the.
Well, it might, I mean, just a level set. It just kind of means in the very beginning, level set where we are in the process. That might.
Where we are in the process, that there is a process and that we're not trying to slide something by them. We're not trying to ram something down their throats. This is what the developer has to do next. Here's what we do next. I think you could get that into 1 or 2 pages and have it sitting back there.
Sure.
So that when they come in,
One,
we're not the enemy.
They're not gonna read it. They won't pick it up and read it.
I just think that's.
To your point, I think that's a great idea, and I appreciate the mayor really sitting down and taking the time to explain to our neighbors
Sure.
really kind of what is, and that was important, right?
Yeah.
Making sure that our neighbors understand where we are in the process. Like, in order for us to support the safety, in order for us to support, traffic study and everything else, like, we gotta, make sure that it stays within the process, so we keep it moving, right?
well, one of the things I think we heard well, all we heard was they were concerned about the road and the safety.
Yeah.
And so, that's what we absolutely
Highway
have to
7's a
address.
nightmare. There's legislation
Right.
right now going on about Highway 7.
Right.
Representative Meyer is heavily involved in Highway 7 overall, and it's a
So are we.
huge conversation
Yeah.
in general. And I think so that really plays to that.
Good job.
So can we do staff and council
Yeah.
reports? So you can go home and I can go home.
Yeah. Good job, guys.
Yeah, that's good.
Please. Nick.
We do have a couple items coming through for August, so plan on an August meeting. Both I think were setback variances, so hopefully not quite what we're dealing with tonight. But yeah, so just those couple things, trying to think of what we looked at last time. I think ultimately everything went to the July 20th council meeting, and I think everything ended up being fine. Ended up getting approval. I think we had the CUP, IUP amendment. We had the CUP on Highway 7, and a couple other items that the dock length variance, and then whatever, I forget the other one.
Site plan?
The site plan, yep. So,
Yeah.
I guess that's kind of what I have, for you guys.
So I'll try and be quick. So first of all, the council agreed to put a moratorium on data centers for Minnetrista. So that resolution will be coming back at our August 3rd meeting.
How long is that moratorium?
A moratorium is on for 18 months we can put it on for 18 months. But in the meantime, then it'll give us an opportunity to kind of look at our ordinances to see what we can do to put some guardrails on and to put some maybe limitations in and so on, because I know it's a big issue, big controversial issue. And you think there's a lot of people here tonight? If a data center application came in, it would be a lot worse.
We're sitting back in tunes, right?
Did we have some inquiries around data centers?
No, but other communities have, and not only have other communities had in applications in, but even people have gone to council meetings asking their council to put moratoriums on and so on. So I thought, let's just be ahead of the game here. So that's coming back. The other thing I'd like to just inform all of you, there's 2 seats on the council that are up for election. I hope that some of you will consider running. And
Who's up?
Claudia Lacey and Peter Vickery. And Peter Vickery has announced that he's not running again.
Peter?
Claudia has signed up, and one other person, as far as I know, I don't know her at all. So that's coming up. Tomorrow is the deadline for applying or for filing. So at 5 o'clock tomorrow. And then the other thing is, August 3rd, we're going to hold an open house. I received an award by the League of Minnesota Cities. It's a very, it's humbling. I mean, it's
on the back. It's okay. What's it?
It's a very, very, very prestigious award. They give one award a year, and it goes to an elected official in municipal elected official, so a city elected official. And I got this award. It's a
Congratulations. Well deserved. Very well deserved.
This isn't and I'll say this at the open house. It's Monday night, August 3rd. We start at 5, and there'll be a short presentation around 6:15, and then at 6:30 we'll start our council meeting. But this isn't my award. This is our award, because I couldn't do it by myself. We have fantastic staff that has been very supportive and helpful. We have great commissioners. We have some good council members along the way. Won't mention any names.
I can mention one.
No.
Sorry.
And we've the voters in Minnetrista have been very kind and supportive. So it really goes to all of us, but it's also good for Minnetrista. And so I hope you guys will come August 3rd. That's next Monday from 5 to 6:30.
So it's just our city, but just our city.
Anybody can come.
Well, I thought you were talking about other city council members.
But I know some mayors, some other mayors might be here, and then the League of Minnesota Cities will be here, and they have a video that they did, and they'll show that. unfortunately. So they'll show that and then I'm sure they'll say a few words and then I get to say a few words. So,
Congratulations
yeah,
again.
thank you.
Anything else?
We're starting our road projects. There's a little bit of a glitch on Game Farm Road. They've found some, how do you say, subsoils that weren't, that they needed to do corrections on. But other than that, it's moving along. It probably won't, all of our road projects probably won't be wrapped up until maybe, I want to say August, but end of August. I will not be at the meeting and the next planning commission meeting because I will be in Portugal. But so.
Important place to live?
Yeah, well, no, really.
Just joking.
Yeah.
Don't
give her any ideas.
I'm just saying, I've always wanted,
No, but-
I've always wanted to live there.
Yeah.
I just, quick question on 7. The improve, you guys are in conversations, when you talked about, that piece of 7, did you guys talk about
We talked about, so here's the thing.
41?
We've talked about that. We've been working with MnDOT, and so there's a coalition. There's a Highway 7 coalition, and also there's 2 different coalitions. There's a Highway 7 Improvement Coalition, and there's a Highway 7 Safety Coalition. Our police department is part of the Safety Coalition, and I've been in talks and been part of the Improvement Coalition. So the improvements that are going to happen in 2029 on Highway 7 are from the far western border of Hennepin County, which is Minnetrista, all the way to Christmas Lake Road. And those improvements right now include mill and overlay, and then some minor tweaks and maybe a few new light at various intersections. What it doesn't include is roundabouts, and there's $11 million that's short. And if we can get that, and that's why I was down in St. Paul numerous times, besides trying to get money for our water treatment plant, I was also trying to get money for road improvements for these roundabouts on Highway 7. And then we also, today I had a meeting with MnDOT along with a couple other people, Jasper, our city administrator, and another mayor, and our senator, Ann Johnson Stewart. And what we were trying to do is, number one, figure out because they didn't get the 11 million this year. Hopefully they can get it next year. We don't know. There's a lot of moving parts here, but anyhow, we also talked to them about roundabouts on Highway 7 at Hunter's Crest, and then Buck Lake.
Lake Road.
Buck Lake. So that's, again, it's a lot of moving parts. We're working on it. We're doing everything in our power that we can, including even if we have to throw in some money, because we have some MUSA dollars, that we have some, not MUSA, MSA dollars. These acronyms, especially at 9:30. So municipal state aid dollars. And if, we're looking at all things in order to make ingress and egress safe for as safe as possible.
Appreciate that.
Absolutely.
All right. Anything else?
God, no.
Okay, all right. Well, we're item number 4, adjournment. Get a motion.
I move to adjourn this meeting.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
No, it was a long haul. Appreciate you guys listening.
Loving, but I really think this is.
I noticed as I was reading my packet, I must have dragged my phone cord through the area. I was